Nityanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami. Nityanandam, and a very warm welcome to today's Nityananda Satsang, which has quickly become the highlight for all of us in the day, Ask the Avatar. It's in this series of satsangs when you get to see the intimate one-on-one personal relationship between Sadashiva himself in form and those who have chosen to live life here with him in Kailasa on earth, which is Nityananda Peetham, Bengaluru Adinam. Tonight, we are going to hear questions posed to the avatar by a very special Adinavasi, Ma Nitya Mahavidyananda. Ma Mahavidya is the Vice Chancellor of Nityananda University, and she came to Swamiji from the world of aerospace engineering. Nityananda University is now the largest university on planet Earth by number of campuses, courses, students, and faculty. So, of course, it's a dream come true for someone who has a history in academics. And very soon, we're going to hear more from Ma Mahavidya. Ma Nitya Mahavidyananda is known for her distinguished academic career and work in the field and as a scholar. Before becoming a brahmacharini, a monastic disciple of the Nityananda Sangha, she was the assistant professor of aeronautics and astronautics at the University of Washington in Seattle, USA, between 2013 and 2017. During her tenure at the University of Washington, she spearheaded the research on aerospace validation and pioneered the country's first research lab on that same topic. Her work has received numerous awards, honors, and recognition from the international colleagues. Known for her creativity, she was awarded the National Science Foundation's Early Career Faculty Award for the impact her research brought to society. Best Advisor Awards for inspiring her PhD students in their own research, was granted over $4 million in research funding, appeared in over 30 peer-reviewed publications, authored the only book on the topic in the past 30 years, sat as an advisor for high school programs, was chair-elect for pioneering aerospace engineering research, was distinguished with excellence for her doctoral research, and the list goes on and on and on. In fact, her academic and professional biography alone is 13 pages. Ma Mahavidya came to Inner Awakening in March of 2016, and then she knew what her real calling in life is. She went back to Washington with the blessings of her beloved Guru, His Holiness Paramahamsa Sri Nityananda Swamiji, to come back to live with him as an Adinavasi. Today, she is living her dream. Beyond the excitement of searching into the far reaches of aerospace exploration is the excitement to be blessed as an educator, influencer, and pioneer in the sacred science of the Vedagamas at the feet of her most beloved Guru. Tonight is her night to take all of her burning questions and ask the avatar. Welcome, Ma Mahavidya.
Thank you, Swarupa Priya, and thank you so much, Swamiji, for letting me share the stage with you. This is beyond a blessing and a dream come true. So I want to start by thanking everyone who's joining me here tonight in this celebration. It's an extremely special night for me. There's people here in Bengaluru Adinam, the entire Science of Inner Awakening joining us on two-way, and the entire Sangha, and all of those of my past colleagues, friends, and students. Thank you so much. So Swamiji, I want to start by saying, I decided I'll use a stand mic because you do, and that's how I've operated for the last year since I've known you. And anything I do, I only ask, how will Swamiji do it? And that's how I do it. And there has been one question, Swamiji, my students have asked me all the time. They come and do undergraduate education, and then they ask, should they go get a job or continue their education? And they see a finality in education as if there is no more. What would you say to them?
Nityanandeshwara Sadashivasamarambam Nityanandeshwari Adishakti Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. Mahavidya. The thought current you presented in front of me as a question. See, you presented two ideas. One, whatever I do, I remember how Swamiji will do. How I used to connect me with Annamalai Swamigal and practice this. With Arunagiri Yogeshwara, I never practiced. It became that because he was so huge, so imposing and impressing. He just entered into me, and I know I am doing as he wants, that's all. With Annamalai Swamigal, it was a practice. With Arunagiri Yogeshwara, it is a presence. It was no more a practice. And then the question you presented, the students come to me, and everyone should know that she trains and coaches people for doctorate, PhD. Not only she herself is a doctorate, am I right?
Yes, Swamiji.
She herself is a doctorate, and she coaches people, trains people for doctorate. So I am sitting with a person who trains the trainers. Who makes the people doctor. You put a question that students come to me and ask, after certain education, should we take up a job or continue education? Let's understand the logic of education. To tell you honestly, the two thought currents you presented, actually the one is the answer for the other. The question is, should your students pursue the studies or take up a job? See, what is study, you know? In whatever field you are exploring, the vision or the visionary of that field should have opened in you. So, your logic is completely functioning with that logic. Without blind spot, then you are complete in that education. It can be as simple as gardening. Either the complete vision about the gardening, or a great visionary gardener should have opened in you, in your being. Your logic should be completely in tune with it. Education is only two things. One, ideas based, and the personality who has become the personification of ideas is based. Hindu tradition was based on Guru and all the other ideas, thought currents explained through the Guru. These two types of education, one that ideas, books, teachings based, another one person who radiates the ideology based. In these two, any one or both should have opened in you. Only then your education is complete. If it is only the logic, means the whole of more of a length-based understandings, like mathematics, theories, the science, there, the person who is personification of that ideas may not even be required. Nowadays the gadgets are doing much better job. Just analysis, statistics, numbers, the theorems, formulas. If the education is related to only that, if that logic, that vision has opened up in you, your whole logic is able to function integrated to that vision. Without a blind spot, your education is complete, take up a job. It is nothing to do with graduation, undergraduation, post-graduation or PhD.
Yes, Swamiji.
Are you complete with that logic? Is, for example, if you are doing mathematics, anything you see, your vision should be able to reduce it into mathematics. Anything you see, you should be able to understand from the vision of mathematics. Then your education is complete. The vision is opened in you. Then you take up a job, start enriching the world. You don't need to spend time in studying further. If it's art, like a music, dance, painting, ideas, concepts are not enough. You need to fall in love with somebody who has become personification of the ideology. You need to fall in love with a dancer, and you need to constantly remember that person. You need to constantly align yourself to that person. And then maybe little concepts are also required. If the education is related to heart, a dimension of breath, art, if you are in love with the visionary and there is no blind spot, your whole logic is able to function with the logic of the visionary. If you are able to dance like you are visionary, if you are able to paint like you are visionary, if you are able to sculpt like you are visionary, your education is complete. If your logic has no blind spot. When I say if you are able to like, I am not saying duplicating. I am not saying replicating. Understand?
Yes, Swamiji.
I am only saying multiplicating. Understand? Duplicate Multiplication and replication is logic, not art. It is multiplication is art, where the vision of your visionary is nurtured in you. Your heart becomes a nursery for the vision of your visionary, and you multiply it. If that space has opened up in you, your education is complete. Start enriching the world. I will not utter the word take up a job. Understand? Job is not 3-letter word, 4-letter word. Any person whose intelligence is awakened should not take up a job. He should be his own boss. Understand, Hindu tradition does not allow, accept people not being their boss. Allowance is given, but they are not allowed. Allowance is just okay what to do, but it is not socially allowed. Either you start enriching the world just because of the joy of enriching. You start enriching the world because you are so strongly feeling connected to the ideology, or you start enriching the world in exchange of some pleasures and luxury or wealth. If you start enriching just for the heck of the joy of the enriching, you are a Brahmana. If you start enriching because you have so much of feeling connection with that ideology, you are a Kshatriya. If you start enriching because you want to have exchange of pleasure or luxury or wealth or something in return, you are a Vaishya. If you decide not to become your own boss, only then you become Shudra.
Whoa.
No one whose intelligence is awakened, who went to Guru, who is touched by Guru, no one should get into the path of not being your own boss. No. Do not take up a job. It is not accepted in Hindu tradition. Practicing Hindus do not take up a job. You be on your own boss. You can be part of an organization, nothing wrong, that is not denied. You can be part of an organization, but you cannot be, understand, part of something. Being ordinate of something is different. Being subordinate is different. You are part of an organization, you are ordained, you are ordinated. You can be part of an organization, but do not take up a job. Do not take up a job. Hinduism, practicing Hindus don't take up job. Time immemorial, always understand, even in Hindu kingdoms, if somebody is working in the court, he was never respected. Whether a poet or an artist or a painter, the intelligentsia of Hindu kingdom, intelligentsia of the Hindu society, Brahmanas, do not accept A person dances in the court or paints in the court or sings in the court, they were never given the credit of the authorities. Understand? Being part of a organization is different, being subordinate is different. In Pandya kingdom, it is very clearly recorded. The Tamil Sangam is separate and the court of the kingdom is separate. In the court, poets don't work, artists don't dance, singers don't sing. Their king has the complete power. But the organization called Tamil Sangam, their king does not sit in high pedestals. There, the poets, singers, painters, artists, sculptors, they are respected so much. Even if you see in the Thiruvilayadar Puranam, it is very clearly recorded. When Shiva comes down and questions the authority of the Nakiran, king defends and says, this is not court, this is Tamil Sangam, the organization where everybody is part. So, you can't say they are subordinates. Understand? The thought current I am trying to tell you, practicing Hindus do not work. And be your own boss in whatever you are offering, in whatever you are doing, whether it is big or small, right or wrong, good or bad, up or down, be your own boss. I tell you, fundamentally, the thought current, when somebody has to end the education, start the job, the moment either your vision or visionary has opened up in you and you do not have a blind spot with it or with the person, and you are able to flow smoothly, your education is over, start enriching. In length logic based fields, ideas are enough. If vision opens up, that's enough. In art based fields, visionary also need to open up. Depth in spiritual, depth based, reality, existential based fields, if only the visionary opens up, that's enough. You don't need separate concepts and ideas and anything. Just visionary opening up in you, happening in you is enough. He will make it happen for you. So when you say, how Swamiji will do, I will do, visionary has happened in you. You are done. Now you can be given PhD in spirituality. You can start enriching the world. So, how to decide whether to continue the education or start enriching the world? This should be the decision. If you feel, oh, it is never going to end, I don't think any time vision is going to open up in me or visionary is going to open up in me, then take up a job, be Shudra. Nothing can be done. Nothing else can be done. If you want to give up on you, then who can hold you? Otherwise, wait and open up the vision or visionary in you. Be Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya. Understand, this is no way connected to birth in our Sanatana Hindu Dharma. It was no way connected to birth. It is invaders made the concept of community based on birth because they were practicing it based on birth. We were practicing it based on the karma, action. We were doing it based on karma, action. We were doing it based on the logic with which he lives, not biologic. Understand, it was logic, not biologic. It is invaders who brought this idea of communities based on biology. So, next.
Cost of education is high. Today, almost in the West, in the institution I was working at, approximately $60,000 to $100,000 somebody spends a year for 1 year of education. And they want to study and they want to find the visionary. But what can schools do to help them, to guide them in this search for a visionary then? What should one do?
See, the question has a lot of complications about the modern day education system. Let me talk only from the angle of Vedic education system. First thing, fundamentally, education should be completely free. Understand, my Gurukul is free because my Gurukul was free. Fundamentally, if you see, 80% energy of our Sangha, Gurukul, all the books I have written, all the satsangs I have given, even the classes and programs I have given like Inner Awakening or all the other programs, everything is available in the internet completely free of cost for free download and educating or research. Understand? It's not that little resources are spent on making all these available to all of you free of cost. Nitya Satsang, everything other than few programs, I should say, if I compare, almost 80% of my time, energy, what I am offering is made available to the whole world free of cost, with a lot of gifts and bonuses, like books. Many books, even the hard copies, we gift it. And many Aushadha products, spiritual alchemy products, like Kantamala, many things go as gift. Understand? If something is showered on you, your good side is rubbed so strongly, you can never monetize that unless you are a chronic capitalistic sick. and sickening. Econo-ideo, we can create new words. Econo-ideo maniac, disorder. The whole education I am sharing, I was showered. I can't monetize. End of the day, I can't monetize. Generating little money to run the organization is different. Monetizing is different. All the best things I have, I am sharing it with our Gurukul, with my kids, and the Gurukul is free. They are not even bound by the sannyas vows. At the age of 21, if they want to drop the krama and go back to society, they are free to do. Even spiritual vows are not binding vows. Krama Brahmacharya, even before the initiation, they are told very clearly, you can always drop this whenever you want to and go back to society. Use whatever you learnt and manifest whatever you learnt and live as you want without even having a commitment that you need to give back something to the roots. Understand? Never my gurus asked me to give back something to the roots. That is why I gave me itself back. Understand, matured man's operating methodology is grounded on gratitude. This is a very important statement. Gratitude comes only for a matured man, and maturity happens only if you start operating from gratitude. Understand? Till gratitude becomes your fundamental cognition of operation, you are immature. Still, you have not ripe from the world. The beautiful mantra, Mrityunjaya mantra. Trayambagam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam urvarugamiva bandhanan mrityormukshiyamamrutat. See the word pushti vardhanam. When ripe, it relaxes. If you are ripe from all the needs of the world, your demand from the world, if you feel you have sucked the world enough, you have taken all the possible juice and you are matured, you have nothing more to demand from the world. Pushti vardhanam. Pushti vardhanam. Then you decide to operate on gratitude. Understand? Till you decide to operate on gratitude, you have not yet completed your commitment, means immature relationship with the world. Till you are in the mood of sucking, till you are in the mood of demanding. I tell you, as long as you are in the mood of demanding, sucking, you are a child, minor. You are not adult. You are not matured. You might have been grown, but not matured. When the gratitude becomes your fundamental cognition to operate with you, with the life, with the humanity, and with the universe. I tell you, no suffering can touch you. Always you will be powerful. Everything you do will become historic. Because matured things are cognized by matured people. Fundamental quality of maturity is your cognition for operating will be gratitude. Gratitude will be your cognition of operation. I tell you, my masters invoked that in me. The intensity with which they invoked that in me brought such tremendous maturity. That is why, because my Gurukul was free, my Gurukul is free. Understand, if the same yoga you need to learn what we are doing here with all the available teachers and the facility, you need to spend at least $10,000 a month in US, in New York. At least. Actually, we don't make anything. All yoga lessons are free. Even in Nityananda Yoga Live, or even in the
book also.
Web TV, or the classes. Now we are making the next step. In the whole Mysore Road, we are going to put banners. Learn rope yoga from the Guinness World Record holder. Learn Kundalini Raja Yoga from Guinness World Record holder. And make 4 sessions here free for everyone to come and learn. And already plans are ready. Understand. Fundamental strategy is to make the science available and raise the money to support this activity. That's all. That is why I have not made the Sangha teacher based. I have made the Sangha sannyas based. Here comes Nityananda Sangha. The whole Sangha is not teacher based but sannyasis based. Where we take the oath in front of Kalabhairava. Asteya and aparigraha. Living with minimal things. Vow of living with minimal things. We use things what is required for our work, for our responsibility. I use this throne only to perform my responsibility, not for anything else. Understand? Still I hold the vow of poverty in me as the vision and live it in my life. Because I hold that vision, I live it and radiate it. I am revered and respected on this throne. throne doesn't add glory to me. The ideology I carry and live and radiate adds glory to the throne. What is the ideology, you may say? You can ask, listen, even though I have a huge infrastructure and every possibility to monetize, I insist on holding hundreds and hundreds of free classes here and making it available through the internet. Importance is given more for making it available and enriching, not for monetizing. You are only making it available. Bad business decision, but best spiritual decision. Because it's a best spiritual decision, and this is the being that is making that decision and holding that vision, and this is the body that carries that being. These thrones carry this body. These all honor given to the best spiritual decisions this body makes and the vision this body holds. Understand? It is too easy to create teacher-based organization, franchisee model. Very difficult to create sannyas-based organization, service model. Even though I am producing thousands of sannyasis, they can't monetize. They are not going to monetize because they are very fundamental. Oath is asteya aparigraha. Understand? Satya is the integrity to your very identity, existence. Satya makes you exist in a best way within you. Aparigraha makes your physiology exist in a best way. I tell you, a man who has learned to live with minimal things from outside will be most healthy and most happy wherever he goes. Wherever he goes, I tell you. The best training I had in my life is my Parivrajaka time, where the aparigraha was my lifestyle. That has made my body and mind manifest so much of possibilities and powers. The whole physiology system gets prepared to live without anything. It is such liberation. Such liberation. Hey, I am not brought up in 3-star or 5-star or 7-star hotel. I was brought up in billion-star hotel. Where every night I see billion stars. When I open my eyes, I see billion stars. I slept always under billion stars. If you are brought up with a 3-star lifestyle, you will always yearn for 5-star. If you are brought up by the 5-star lifestyle, you will always yearn for 7-star. If you are brought up by the 7-star lifestyle, you will always yearn for 9-star or whatever, 11-star, I don't know how many stars. Because there is no limitation. Even the royals try to take them to the next level. There is no limitation. But I was brought up under 1 billion stars. Understand, aparigraha, living with minimal things, is not integrity between you and society. If you think it is between you and society, you will always try to cut corners and cheat. It is between you and your physiology. Listen to the definition. Aparigraha is not commitment or integrity or responsibility between you and society. No, it is between you and your physiology. That is why I strongly condemn the word poverty being used as a translation for aparigraha. No, living with minimal things. That is the mapping of the word aparigraha, not poverty. No. Listen. When you translate that into poverty, it is always a negotiation between you and the society. You try to cut corners. Secretly you try to be without aparigraha, and in public you try to be having more aparigraha, show of aparigraha. In my life it is opposite. Here I sit on the silver throne, there I sleep just in normal wooden cot, sometimes without even that. Here I use all that, and the moment I move out of the public life, I remove everything and live just with my kashaya vastra, nothing else. The jewelries are responsibility for me, not makeup. It is my traditional responsibilities I am fulfilling, not any makeup. So understand, asteya, non-stealing, is integrity and responsibility and commitment between you and society, but not aparigraha. Aparigraha is the integrity and responsibility and commitment between you and your physiology.
When Swamiji happened in my life last year, I thought, why did it not happen sooner? Right? So, for all those who are waiting to come to you, Swamiji, they want to make you as their visionary. They want to start a center. They want to know how they can interact with you. What is your vision for them?
So, first, before when we started the Ask the Avatar, you said, I will do how Swamiji will do. So why don't you answer this question, how I will answer? Come on. Let me listen to Mahavidya's answer, how I will answer.
So Swamiji, to anyone who asked me that question, I said what I did. I said, when you listen to Swamiji, whether it is one satsang or 5 words, or that one line that you saw on a social media post, Listen to that. And that is all you need. And test it. You go apply it in your own life. Because that's what I did. Swamiji said, declare Sadashivoham, it will happen. I started playing with it. I said, okay, I'm getting late for a meeting. Let me declare Sadashivoham. Let me be on time for the meeting. Swamiji, miracles happened, which is why I'm here. I said, come on, I'm missing out on not listening to Swamiji if I'm not next to Swamiji. So, for anyone who is out there and wondering how to make Swamiji their visionary, I would say only one thing. Listen to Swamiji, not hear. Listen. And that is all you need. And apply it in your life.
So she has already beautifully answered, as I will answer. See, even Narasimha's ferociousness could not hurt Prahalada. When Prahalada went near, Narasimha just have to just cool down. When Prahalada looks into Narasimha's eyes and, yes, Swamiji. Even the ferociousness of Narasimha cannot touch Prahalada. I tell you, there is one person who can't be touched by my ferociousness is Mahavidya. her yes Swamiji is 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. Like Prahlada, being a kid, Narasimha's ferociousness shook even Sadashiva, and he has to release Sarveshwara to save the planet Earth and universe from Narasimha. Even he got frightened. Otherwise, he doesn't need to release Sarveshwara to go and handle. The things are going out of control. But Prahlada, one tulsi leaf in that baby hand, and the beautiful smile in the face, and the innocence in the heart, walks towards Narasimha, and Narasimha bends. And Mahavidya's yes Swamiji is exactly the Prahlada space. all my Rudra ferociousness, nothing works in front of her. She will have that one yes Swamiji, and finally she will do what she wants. That is different. But nothing could be done even by me. And so today I have a book stand. This is my blessing to Mahavidya. Let visionary and vision open in your heart. Blessing. And let you open the visionary and vision to millions of hearts. Blessings.